Yo, Grenton here, and we have some more Global Throne and Liberty news that just came out not too long ago on September 13th regarding the servers and how the landscape of global will look like. We just put out a video also regarding the monetization and the business model that Amazon talked about. So if you haven't seen that video and you're curious about it, it's on my channel. It's my most recent upload after this one. However, we did finally get a server list and some more information regarding how servers are going to work in the global region. So I wanted to take some time to dive into it with everyone. There's a lot of questions from the community regarding how early access and full launch servers are planned to work and how they're going to interact with each other. The goal is to design a system that provides non-early access users the same fresh server opportunity as early access players. They want to give some more information on how the servers are going to work. Once both servers are live, players can create new characters on early access or full launch servers at any time, subject to population caps. If you begin playing at full launch and you want to join your friends on an early access server, you can create a character there on October 1st, regardless of whether or not you purchased a pack. So that's kind of what I said previously when I was going over the packs, is that even if all your friends buy early access and you still want to play with them and you don't mind starting, 5 days behind, when October 1st hits, you could just download the game and make your character on that server regardless. Players can transfer from full launch servers to early access at any time. So this is cool if there's guilds and stuff who maybe didn't want to force their entire guild to buy early access, but they still want to, have some competitive PvP. If, let's say, the competitive PvP server ends up being an early access, that allows those free-to-play guilds to transfer in to experience that content. They will be offering limited time free transfers to all players from September 26th to October 17th. This is actually kind of huge. The entire month almost of the launch of the game, you'll be able to transfer for free. And then early access servers will eventually have transfer restrictions lifted. We'll get into that here shortly. So how the transfers are going to work is at the full launch on October 1st, they're going to temporarily restrict characters from leaving early access servers and going to launch servers. This means that if I start on the early access server, I cannot transfer to a launch server. Players on the launch servers can transfer as long as there's room to early access servers or other full launch servers without any restrictions. And then the early access players will get their tags and limitations removed when the time is right. Amazon is going to be looking to determine the optimal time based on player feedback and data. So obviously if a server tanks in population on early access, they might lift that restriction earlier. And they know players are interested in this date. And once they get a feel of how the population is distributing, they're going to give us an updated timeline. Limited free transfers. I was not expecting this. So this is probably the thing that I'm most curious about is Amazon is saying that we know launches can be hectic for MMOs between queues, coordinating with guilds, friends, finding new communities. It's very hard to find the right server to call home. So to help you with that, they're giving players up to 2 free server transfer tickets per day, beginning with early access and running through October 17th. Please note that these free transfer tickets will expire 24 hours after claiming to avoid player stockpiling. During the free transfer period, you can transfer to eligible realms as frequently as you'd like, subject to the numbers of tickets claimed, so 2 a day. Please be mindful when transferring. If you transfer off a server, there's no guarantee you'll be able to transfer back to that server if it reaches its population cap. During the free transfer period, there is no transfer cooldown. After October 17th, transfer tickets will be acquired with Lucent, and transfers will be set on a 30-day cooldown. So they're pretty much confirming transfers are going to be in the game from day 1. And then as of October 17th, you'll be able to transfer once every 30 days. This is really good news because one of the issues that Korea had is one alliance or one guild would really dominate a server and there was no way off that server and there was no way for competition to come to that server. So they would just have to wait for merges and stuff like that. Now Korea also has, transfers that you can buy pretty much at any time with a cooldown. So it's very interesting to see that Amazon and NCSoft have elected to do this from day 1. I like the idea of being able to transfer freely pretty much every day to make sure that servers stay healthy, because the last thing you want is to choose one of the early access servers and then it dies and you're just kind of sitting there with like 2 guilds of like 70 people and no one really else is no other guilds are really interacting with the PvP. And it just feels lonely, right? Population caps. So Throne of Liberty early access and full launch servers will have a maximum capacity of characters who can enter a server at any given time to ensure stability. As a result, servers with a high population will likely have queues at launch. And to mitigate queues, we will lock high pop servers and will prevent new characters from being created. All existing characters can continue to log in. We will announce when server creation locks are being implemented on high pop servers and when they will be unlocked. If a server that has been unlocked reaches the population cap again, it'll be relocked. And we hope that you are able to use the free transfer tickets to find the optimal server to call home. I like this a lot. There was an issue on Hyperboost in Korea where Hyperboost 1 got full really fast, and half of our guild, Ethereum, wasn't able to actually roll on the server. So they just kind of waited. They're like, well, we're not moving off Hyperboost 1, so we're just going to wait till it unlocks. This way, you don't have to wait. Let's say server A gets full, and that's where your entire guild is. Doesn't matter. Start on server B, start leveling. Then the moment server A is free, go to the shop, purchase one of the free transfer tickets, and transfer into server A. That way, your progression isn't stunted. And as long as you and your like 6-man static, if you have a static, just choose the same server. It doesn't matter as long as you find your guild afterwards. Server list. So they're releasing the names ahead of time so everyone can coordinate together. So what we're going to do, we're just going to take a look at the server list real quick. This is NA East. As I suspected, 3 to 5 early access servers, 3 to 5 full launch servers with, well, in this case, 5. I said 3 to 5, but it's ending up being 5 with 3 more on deck. So what this means is if all of these fill up, they'll start opening these ones for both early access and full launch. So early access gets, I'm going to be honest, EU kind of won with the namings, but you have Castleton, Laslan, Amos, Chernobog, Karnix, and then the on deck is Magna, Zeroth, Stellarite. And then for full launch, you have Morokai, Helpy. I'm so mad this is a full launch one. I really wanted to roll on Helpy. Benediction, Whisperian, Lottie, and then the next available is Oath, Sanctuary, and Draco Rift for NA East. Again, you'll have the link to this article in the description so you can kind of use these screenshots and coordinate with your guild. NA West has a bit less, 3 and 3. So Lunar, Sanctum, Chrism for early access with Kamur, Lucas, and Melvin on deck. And then for full launch, you have Henry, Clay, and Soulfire. Shout out Henry. And then the next available is Tiago, Veron, and Assure. And then South America also has 3-3. Legion, Vengeance, Da Vinci, Brundle, Camilla, Endwin. And then available instantly, you have Berserk, sick name, Citadel, sick name, Glacial, and then Grace, Felix, and Morin on deck. EU kind of where you win. Lightbringer, Khazar, Conquest, Ember, Zenith, Talus, Wraith, and Bellandir for early access with Ezekiel, Quillix, and Lycan on deck. And then for full launch, you have Vortex, Penance, Starfall, Torrent, Adriana, Cornelius, Excavator, Benny, with Zarek, Arkan, and Basilisk on deck. So pretty sick names there. Asia Pacific, you have Stormbringer, Leviathan, 2 servers there, Sylvalith, Adentis, Kawazan, shout out Adentis, and then Salvation, Alexia, Aridus, Teon, and Bailey for full launch. Auction house clusters. This is a question that we've been getting a lot of. Amazon has answered it, and they're just kind of tripling down now. So auction house clusters will be combined a region's auction house together. Let's use NA East as an example. Auction house on the early access servers in NA East will be clustered together, and then at launch, full launch servers will be separately clustered from each other to ensure fairness. In the future, they're going to consolidate the auction houses, resulting in early access and full launch clusters joining while still containing within the same region. So what this means is they're not going to mix the economies of early access and launch servers, which is a very good thing, until they lift the restrictions for early access players to transfer to full launch servers. So if you're playing on early access, the only auction house and economy you're going to interact with is the other early access servers. And if you're playing on full launch, the only auction house and economy you're going to interact with is the other full launch servers. That being said, once the restriction lifts, the auction houses will be merged. It was kind of like Hyperboost. Hyperboost 1 and Hyperboost 2 on Korea could only buy and sell on their auction house. And then all the other Korean servers had their own central auction house. So it's the exact same thing. So looking ahead, we're excited to see you set foot in Silicium and begin your adventure on the 26th for early access packs on October 1st. On our next server-related article, we will include details around the preload experience for Throne and Liberty. Stay tuned to our website. So this might be like character naming, pre-download, maybe pre-character creation, I hope. But I'm curious how they're going to do like preloading and pre-character creation. I guess they could just have the early access servers and the free launch and the launch servers separate, and you just choose your server since we have the server lists already. So I'm curious to see how that's going to work. So stay tuned for that. When they do post that article, I will cover it as well. This is honestly a very good sign. It looks like Amazon is really preparing for an influx of players on launch, and they're not scared to merge and shrink and combine servers to ensure a healthy game population. It's a free-to-play MMO. Free-to-play MMOs always have a huge spike day one, and as early as week 1, they have a massive drop-off, right? Because it costs you exactly $0 to try this game as of October 1st. So a lot of players are just going to download it, play it. Some might not even get to level 50. Some might get to level 10 and quit, right? So instead of those players, those temporary players, screwing over your server health, Amazon is letting people kind of move around to ensure that the server they want to call home is going to be a server that has competition, that has a high population count. So I'm very excited. This was a very good article today from Amazon Games. It looks like their heads in the right direction. Now, how is it going to be executed? That's the big question mark. How fast are servers going to fill up? We don't really know what the server cap itself is. How fast are they going to unlock it? That's all. We can only wait and see. I'm still very patiently waiting for a roadmap to kind of understand what version of the game we're getting, how our milestones going to be the same. But in terms of preparing your guild and your friends for launch, this is pretty much all you need. Pick a server, talk with, rival guilds, ally guilds. Just make sure you guys have a healthy competition on your server so that the game's fun for everyone, because there's nothing more miserable than one guild running a server. And that is from the guilds running the server's perspective and the perspective of the people not in that guild. So create friendly competition, get people to roll on the same server as you guys so you guys have fights. If you don't care about PvP, ignore everything of what I'm saying right now. But the only people who can stop like the Zerg mentality is us as players. We need to make sure that we have good competition on the servers. The game allows up to 4 guilds in an alliance. My recommendation to anyone, no matter what server you're running on, is try to police a 4 guild alliance rule for your entire server, and don't really let people go, 10 guild alliances, because that's just not going to be fun for anyone, right? So how do you police that? Talking to the other guilds, a gentleman's agreement, a handshake agreement. Now, obviously, egos are egos, so when people start losing, they might, go back on their word. But the only thing you can do is, put your best foot forward. And I know it's like a little side rant about server health and server longevity, but this is the only thing that kills servers in Korea, is when there's this massive Zerg that nobody can touch because they have twice everyone's numbers and they've been free farming a server for a few months. At least it looks like in this case that won't happen for the free farming because of server transfers. But there is a world where there's this mega Zerg that really people can't fight because they have like 10 to 14 guilds, right? So let's try to avoid that on the global version. The PvP in this game is extremely fun when there's competition. When you're, fighting against 2 different alliances, and you always have to keep an eye on your back, because if you engage Alliance 1, you're gonna have Alliance 2 running at you. It's fun. So choose a server. For those of you who want to know where Ethereum's going, we don't know yet. This just came out a couple hours ago. But if you have any questions about the servers, if you have any questions about anything regarding Throne Liberty, feel free to drop a comment below. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/knockrenton. I've been streaming almost 60 days without taking a break, and I'm not planning on taking a break until launch. And I'm also multi-streaming on YouTube as well, so you can find me here. But thank you all for hanging out. Thank you all for watching. Stay safe and kiss your homies. Goodbye. Mwah.